You will be shocked by the skills some drivers possess. In this video, I will show you the most astonishing footage of freight transportation, but not all of them were successful. At the end of the video, I will show you a clip of a mistake that cost millions of dollars. Enjoy watching. True pros at the wheel. A few days ago, before going to bed, I was, as usual, watching videos on the internet. My attention was caught by some freight transportation videos, but not ordinary trucker videos, but clips of transporting something unimaginably huge. That's when I thought of creating a compilation of such amazing videos for you. These videos feature probably the most professional drivers you can find. Have you ever seen how wind turbine blades are transported? When you look at these amazing structures from a distance, they seem small, but in reality, they are gigantic. Just look at how transporting a single blade in Europe required immense skill. Personally, I was shocked by this clip. It seems like such things can only be transported in a straight line, and even then, there's a high risk of breaking something. But here's a video showing this behemoth navigating a very sharp turn. Mesmerizing, isn't it? Another blade. But personally, I think the previous method of transportation is quite safe and very technological. You probably noticed that the trailer carrying the blade was quite sophisticated. Its rear axle wheels could turn, meaning that even with such an oversized load, it could easily navigate any turn. However, wind turbine blades aren't always transported this way. In this footage, you can see a completely different approach to transportation, and it really scares and worries me. How does such a massive object even pass under bridges? But it's actually quite simple. The load can be raised and lowered as needed, allowing it to pass through the most difficult sections. You might ask, why are wind turbines made so huge in the first place? It's to generate as much electricity as possible. The larger the turbine, the more energy it produces. And if it's enormous, it takes a great deal of effort to start it. That's why the blades are made huge and heavy. This way, even a slight wind can rotate the turbine. Moreover, the large weight adds inertia. In general, even in almost windless weather, the turbines won't stand idle. So, making such enormous structures is simply more economical. Oversized load on a serpentine road. Have you ever driven a car on a serpentine road? I have. And let me tell you, it's very difficult. The thing is, you can hardly use regular brakes on such roads, even in a passenger car. They overheat quickly, and you risk ending up in a terrible situation where your car simply won't stop. Now, imagine what it's like for those transporting loads. It's terrifying to watch truckers drive with regular trailers on these roads. But I found an even more astonishing video. In this footage, you can see the transportation of a huge mining machine. Honestly, I don't fully understand what it is. Maybe it's some kind of excavator, but that's not the point. The main thing is that it's simply enormous, as is the trailer carrying it. I'm amazed at how easily the team handles it. The job is extremely tough and nerve-wracking. One wrong move or a technical malfunction, and that's it. The tractor and the load would end up in a ravine, or worse, tumbling down. Fortunately, these guys have the same kind of trailer as in the first video, with a special pivoting rear axle. Thanks to this, they easily navigate the sharpest turn. Personally, I'm in shock because, judging by the footage, even cars would have a hard time passing through this place. A real miracle. Huge transformer. The next video may not be as shocking as the previous one, but it's no less interesting. It shows the transportation of a huge transformer. Honestly, I don't know its exact dimensions, but judging by the surroundings, it's no smaller than a regular two-story house. It's frightening to imagine how much such a behemoth weighs. What amazes me most is that it's being transported right through the city center. There are power lines, lampposts, traffic lights, signs everywhere. In general, a lot of things that can be easily damaged even by a regular car. And here, they're essentially transporting a whole building. The main thing is that during such operations, no one and nothing was hit or med. This once again proves that a true professional was at the wheel, transporting a concrete beam. But let's return to extremely large and elongated items. In this video, a transport company is moving a huge reinforced concrete beam, which was probably needed to be delivered from the factory to a bridge construction site. Honestly, it's a mesmerizing sight. I think this structure is comparable in size to a train consisting of several cars. How many meters do you think this beam is? And again, I want to highlight the amazing technologies invented to transport such loads. Here again, the cool trailer with pivoting rear wheels is used. But I found out an even cooler and more interesting fact. How many vehicles do you think are needed to transport such a beam? You'll be shocked, just like I was. It takes a whole 60 escort vehicles. Imagine coming home from work, wanting to sit down at the table and eat, and then the road is closed for a couple of hours in front of you, and they're transporting such a behemoth. I think I'd forget all my plans and just sit and watch the spectacle. Huge tank. Honestly, I don't understand how any oversized load can be transported in an urban environment, or on busy roads for that matter. Just imagine how many problems can arise during such work. Hit a sign, fine. Anything can happen. Personally, I would always avoid transporting in such conditions. The load might not fit by height or width on a regular street, but this video captures the work of real pros who aren't fazed by any problems. They were transporting a huge tank that is, frankly, astonishing in size. You can compare it to several houses, but the most confusing thing to me is that they were transporting it right through the city center, and that's where serious difficulties arose. The workers encountered a roundabout, and with such a load, they couldn't drive through the road. They had to damage the lawn and bushes in the center of the roundabout. But it didn't end there. When the tractor had already passed the roundabout, it miraculously didn't hit the tree and road signs, but the tank behind it did. Unfortunately, it damaged the tree branches, having previously ruined the lawn and several bushes. I think if the guys chose this route, they had no other option. They probably planned everything in advance and paid all the fines, but I still feel sorry for those plants. Would you take such a step? Through a mountain river. But for me, one of the most amazing videos is this one. It shows an ordinary tractor with a special trailer for transporting lumber crossing a very active mountain river. It's really mesmerizing and very tense footage. Why do I think so? Look, if water gets into the engine, the vehicle will break down. Given the powerful current, the driver would be in danger. Plus, the vehicle could easily be swept away or even overturned. In general, the guy who managed to overcome such an obstacle is a real hero with very strong nerves. However, it's worth noting that the vehicle was likely prepared for such work in advance. Moreover, due to the heavy load, it wouldn't be easily swept away, as it weighed a lot. And the bottom of mountain rivers is not sandy, but rocky. In general, everything was thought out in advance. But even knowing this information, this video remains extremely mesmerizing and interesting to me, and I would never agree to drive through there, even as a passenger. Unsuccessful unloading. My video clips have been too positive so far. I think it's time to change that. Unfortunately, no matter how professional drivers and other workers are, it's often impossible to avoid problems. As a result, not only equipment suffers, but sometimes people as well. However, I won't show you any horrifying footage today, just some unpleasant incidents that occurred during the transportation of large cargo. Here's one such example in this clip. A tractor driver was hauling a special trailer loaded with something that looks like hay mixed with soil. Though it could be something else, I couldn't find precise information, so if you know what was in the trailer, please write in the comments. Anyway, the road was calm and everything seemed fine. The tractor driver successfully delivered the load to its destination. However, during unloading, issues arose. For some unclear reason, the driver stopped too close to a ditch, which caused a steep incline. As a result, the trailer tipped over while unloading. Fortunately, the tractor itself was not damaged. As in such cases, the vehicle often gets pulled over with the load, causing both to flip. So, the driver got some extra work, but at least he was unharmed. Transporting a locomotive. In the next clip, fortunately, the transportation went without any issues, although it could have gone much worse. Here, the team had to transport a real locomotive. Just imagine how much this giant weighs. Moreover, it is enormous. No truck can compare to it in height. Naturally, a special trailer was used, along with many other specially designed tools. But what amazes me is not this fact. In the footage, you can see the locomotive being transported on regular roads. There's a particularly interesting shot where the truck with the load passes right under a bridge. It gave me chills, as you can clearly see the locomotive barely clearing the bridge by a few centimeters. Just imagine what would have happened if it had hit the bridge. It would have been a real disaster, likely causing fatalities. But fortunately, everything went well, and the load was delivered successfully. I also want to note that the locomotive was transported by a real professional. During unloading, a special tool was used to place the locomotive directly onto the tracks. Now imagine the precision required to align the train perfectly with the tracks. Incredible work, right? The most dangerous transport in the video. In the next video, I want to highlight perhaps the most reckless driver. Just look at this footage. It shows a truck transporting a massive boulder, about the size of a one-story house. But the most surprising part for me is that this stone is not secured at all. However, this might be okay, since due to its enormous weight, it won't fall easily unless you drive recklessly or load it incorrectly. Why do I call the driver reckless? Because he was doing exactly those things. Just look at how tilted the trailer is. I'm shocked, as the boulder could fall at any moment, and the driver is not at all concerned, continuing to drive at a normal speed. Just crazy workers. The Immortal excavator operator. I get the impression that some workers somehow save themselves before doing anything, just like in a video game. Why do I think this? Just look at this footage. It shows a guy working in an excavator, which is almost completely submerged in a very active mountain river. What could this threaten him with? Firstly, he could damage the machinery if water gets into the engine. Secondly, the driver himself could be thrown out of the vehicle and seriously injured. But it seems this guy has an autosave feature and a lot of nerves. I'm shocked at how he works in such conditions. What do you think? fell through the ice. Another very instructive video: never try to drive on ice and very heavy machinery, no matter how thick it is. It's extremely dangerous. You have no idea how quickly you can end up underwater. And this video shows exactly what I feared the most. A couple of drivers decided it was time to use their bulldozers on a lake. One of them simply fell through the ice. Fortunately, the driver got away with just a scare and quickly got out of the vehicle. But I shudder to think what would have happened if he had ended up underwater. A cold would have been the least of his worries. Unsuccessful delivery. Now, let's move on to the most interesting part. The last clip I want to show you also tells us about failures that can happen during the transportation of huge loads. Judging by the footage, the team needed to transport a massive tank the size of several full-sized houses. Everything was going smoothly. They had already passed the city limits and were close to the end of the route. But then an insurmountable obstacle appeared in their path, a turn with a slight incline. The load was extremely heavy, and as a result, it simply fell off the trailer. Naturally, both the tank and the trailer suffered serious damage. In the end, several cranes had to be called to lift them out of the ditch. Afterward, the tank was loaded onto a new trailer and, it seems, secured better this time. The delivery was delayed but completed. Honestly, I can't imagine how big the penalty was for the company that damaged such a huge tank. I think the guys will remember this mistake for a long time. In this video, I compiled for you the most amazing and extreme cargo transports I could find on the internet. Let me know in the comments what you think of this video and whether I should make a sequel. Personally, I'm most impressed by the professionalism shown in transporting that locomotive. Speaking of professionals, friends, you have the opportunity to join our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we'd be happy to work with you. Contact us via the Telegram bot. The link is in the description. And thank you for watching.